Welcome,
Everyone's on screen.
welcome everyone. Thanks for joining today and for making the time. I'm Stuart, co-founder of Claras, and I'm joined today by Charmaine Hall from Unbound. Char, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Just a little quick bit of housekeeping. We're recording today, so the recording and anything that Shah wants to share will be shared after the session today. So look forward to that. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat or put your hand up, and you can come off mute and share those questions, and we can answer them. So don't wait till the end, please, as we go through, jump in with any questions. So as I said, we're joined by Charmaine Hall from Unbound. Shah, I noticed that you were crowned Innovator of the Year by your licensee, which is
I was.
exciting. Yeah.
It is, it is.
So yeah, you obviously love pushing tech, love pushing the boundaries of tech, and excited to hear what you've got to share today and any tips you've got when using Claris. So
Mhm.
it's all about, and you feel free to tell us a little bit about that when you jump on. But today is really all about review meetings and how Shah uses Claris and the templates within Claris to kind of really drive that conversation with clients with those review meetings. So, how do we, as advisors, kind of streamline that or help that process and get a really clear picture in front of our clients? So, Shah's taking us through that. I don't want to steal her thunder or kind of presume what I think she's going to say, but Shah, over to you. We're looking forward to hearing what you've got to say.
Thanks, Stu. Yeah, so the Innovator of the Year award definitely came from I started up running some peer groups last year, so both for our licensee and also for advisors in the Melbourne region, just trying to look at the end-to-end process for us advisors and find ways to streamline it. And if we've got just a few little things that we can save along the way, whether it be an automation of something we do time and time again, using templates, AI tips and things like that, looking at the safety, what we need to be looking at as far as security and keeping the data safe. So just trying to make sure that we can do things efficiently, but also safe in this new world of AI that we have. So one of the things that I found with the review process, and I tend to find it when I was working with the banks or when I was working with, the other big corporations, is that their review process was print out some review reports and meet with the client. Tick, job done. For me, that wasn't really engaging for the clients. They want to see more than numbers. It's more, there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes. It's really important for that. Somebody's got their microphone off mute.
I think I've just dealt with that. So yeah, if everyone can leave their mics on mute, that'd be appreciated. Thanks.
So one of the things I love about Claris is the fact that it brings that really personal side of the advisor relationship into these meetings. So it's no longer just here's a document about the performance and the goals we're tracking towards. The great thing about the Claris is for my template is bringing in some of the quick wins that we've had through the client as well. And then, what we need to focus on next. So I guess where I'll start is I'll show the template that I've used. And it has just been one that I've edited from Claris to make it more specific to my process and what I want to update. So I'll go sharing that screen. Can everyone see my Claris screen there?
Yep, looking good.
One. Yep. All right, perfect. So I've just called this one review presentation for PowerPoint. I don't always use it for PowerPoint, but sometimes that's the end result. Claris has a great presentation mode, so realistically, you can just run this report and then show the clients at the end. So it shows through the things that we need to update, because this is what Claris will refer to with this advice process. So it's having a look at the correspondence, and this is where the client's talking about what's important to them. We're talking about what's important for the relationship and where we need to head. Any notes relating to the strategies. So if you've already spoken to them prior to this review, you'd start talking about, well, what changed? Do we need to make any changes? Do you need extra lump sums? Anything like that? or they might have touched base halfway through the year to say that something had changed as well. More importantly with this one is I want to refer back to the original statement of advice projections, because I think for a lot of clients as well, they want to know that what we've projected is either true or, we're behind or in front based on their circumstances. So it's not just about performance, but it's about, well, what happened through the year that might have meant that we're ahead or behind of our projections, and how does that impact your future financial planning? The current and last year's fact find update. So this template will bring through the opening and closing balances, not just of product reports, but also bank accounts, loans, anything else you're talking to the clients about as well. Last year's and this year's service agreement, because it reads dates within those as well. 12-month reports and research and long-term performance reports. So sometimes I'll add in some market commentary as well. So if you like to talk to the clients about the markets, how it's impacted their investments, some of those can be really great. Some of the performance reports will already have that within the downloads as well. I know it's a big list, but for anyone who's utilising a support officer, just give them this list and they can update it, and then either they can run the report or you can run the report, knowing that it's feeding from all of these documents. The most important thing to do is when you run this report, make sure that it's linked to those ones, which I'll show you in a minute. The way I've tailored the report, and everyone will have different preferences regarding what they want this to look like, but anything, as we know, in those square brackets is going to be text that will be changed based on the client's situation. So it's like instructions for Claras in the background. So we know what we want. The dates are always going to change, the names, all the advisor details pulling through. I've limited how much information it puts in here as well, because if we just say detail what's changed through the year, sometimes we can get 6 paragraphs. It's really wordy. But if we limit it, say we want 3 to 5 dot points, no more than 15 words each, it will just quickly summarize what we've had for the year, what's changed, goals and objectives. So again, I just want those to be short, nice and concise, something the client can easily identify, relate with. And then this is where it pulls the data through. So I've got extraction 1, extraction 2. So first and foremost, I want the template to refer to the documents, like the product reports. And if it can't find the information there, so if there's something in the fact find that isn't in those product reports, then I want it to refer to the opening and closing balances of the fact find only. So it's like a catch-all. So anything that's mentioned in the fact find, if it can't find the reports, it's going to refer to the opening and closing balances based on what I've got attached there. And, put a prompt in there if there's a naming mismatch or something's missing. And then I get it to create a table for me of the opening, closing balances, what's gone in, what's gone out. Again, it's referring to those product reports that I've attached. Then it shows a total. So it's like, okay, of those tables we've just created, here's the opening, the closing, and then this is where it refers back to the advice document. And I've got it to pro rata it as well, because I know advice documents generally only use June, July balances, but I've got a note in here to say if the end of the financial year was, say, 120 days ago, I want you to pro rata that. So you know that these 2 dates here, pro rata that, and then you get a little bit more accurate with the balances. And then based on what I've got coming through, so what's going on with the market, anything we've discussed already, how are they tracking? So this is where it starts looking at advice balance, where they currently are now, and how they're tracking compared to their goals. And based on our conversations, it could be, well, you're not in line with where we are because you took $120,000 last year that you weren't supposed to. Updates behind the scenes. So generally this will read from the research reports, market commentary, anything else that you've uploaded there. So the more you update and upload, the more specific this is going to get with the information coming into the report. Moving forward,
just a question: when you're updating each of these sections, are you typing your instructions in directly into the editor here, or are you using the refine with AI button or a combination? Any kind of tips there?
Yeah, I think in the end with these ones, I have I've had a mix of both of them. So some of them I think initially I uploaded the report template that I wanted and then said basically replicate this. I found that some of it just needed some fine tuning to be very specific,
Yeah,
especially
okay.
in regards to those pro ratering and the dates and where it's all feeding it from there as well. But I think the refined AI is great, but sometimes it just needs to be a little bit more fine tuned with there
Yeah,
as
sure.
well. And so once that is run, so I'll show in the fucking slide. So basically, it'll be the same as running any other document, any other template. So you just have a look in there, make sure that you've got all your attachments referred to here. I only refer to what's listed in that template. So I don't tick anything else. So if there's a fact find from 3 years ago, I'm not going to include that. If there's performance reports from the last review, I'm not going to include that. It's just what's listed from this year's touch base, last year's fact find and fixed term service agreement, and everything that brings the financials up to date from there. And then I
Shah, do you
use
mind
the
if I just jump in there for 1 second?
Mhm.
You're on your template, or in your template, you have the guidance section with those instructions in it.
Mm.
And just to be clear about where that comes alive in this screen here, or where you can access that, if you roll over the little light bulb icon there, that's where those instructions appear. So when Shah said, "Oh, this is good if you're using a paraplanner, or there's a support as part of your support team who will be running this," that's where they get those instructions that you put in the template. So just to connect those dots and let everyone know where that's accessed.
Is there a way that we can keep that so it once we click on it, it stays open?
It's yeah, good question. Yeah, it's good guidance to have kind of clearly there as you're dictating. So yeah, that's it's a good thought. The other one is that we've had some requests to put the brief in as a template as well, which may help sort of what you're talking about there. You might have specific questions or dot points that you want to include and always have in the brief. So yeah, a couple of good thoughts there from advisors that we need to take on board.
Yeah. So once I've run this report, this is, I'll go to the top. This is what it spat out. So this isn't what I would present to a client. I could, but it's not as illustrative as what I would like. So it's pulled through, all the personal information that's happened through the year, what changed, if there's been changes in Centrelink as well, the goals for the client. It's all pulled it through really concisely. I don't love the way that it's pulled through the tables, but as I said, this isn't what I would present to a client. It's just the data that I need to pull through. Talks about the markets, how is it tracking, so it pulls through, whether it's before, in front or behind, the updates behind the scenes. So all the information that I wanted from there, including a nice little typo, which is fun. So from there, if that's all you wanted for the client and you just wanted to present to them, you've got the presentation mode that we've got with Claras. So we can go in the document. We've just created this review presentation, and then I've generated the presentation, which comes up with this one here. And then this is just, it's nicer to present to the client because we can go through it page by page without a whole heap of text. So that's probably the simplest way to present it to a client. I do go one next step and I start using PowerPoint. So for anyone who's got the Claras MCP connector for Claude or for Copilot, this is where it can be really handy for that one as well. So in whatever AI you're using, if it's connected to the Claras MCP, you can instruct it to create a PowerPoint presentation. If you've got a template, you can upload that. I'll show you what mine looks like and where it feeds the information from. going to stop sharing that screen and start sharing the other one. So that PowerPoint screen's come up okay? Yeah,
Yes,
so
it has. Yep.
the connector is the Claras MCP that can connect to Copilot and Claude, or I'm guessing other AI agents as well. So within that, first and foremost, if you're going to import anything to Claude or AI that's not the Copilot Microsoft version, like specifically for, if the paid version of Copilot keeps everything within your safe little Microsoft bubble. Anything other than that cannot guarantee the safety of any client information. So before I upload that review report from Claras or refer to it, I always redact any personal identifier, the numbers, surname, things like that, because I can easily add those back in afterwards. So I've got a template for this, which just basically has little placeholders for name, years, and we can share all these documents afterwards as well. And then the skill in the AI is basically use this report, use this PowerPoint template, and create a review document for me. So I've prepared this one, and I haven't touched anything on this one just because I want you to see what it looks like. What it looks like before I've started editing. So it brings through all the tables and things like that I wanted. Again, because I've removed the surnames, the account numbers, and everything like that, then it's not such a risk because there's nothing identifiable in this one. It shows graphs as well. Little bit of smart art here that we can just adjust if we're wanting to change where it all is as well. So we've got two ways. So I think the Claras presentation is great, just as something we can do today, something we can implement today. And then we've got the MCP connector with Claras that also allows us to create something at just that next level if we wanted to as well. But being very mindful with that MCP connector that if you're relating back to notes, yes, it's referring to client-specific data, which we need to be really, really careful about. But I do love the fact. I love the fact that we can just generate this, and it's so personalized with Claras as opposed to just a portfolio report and then a conversation with the clients. I'm finding the clients are able to look at this and feel a lot more engaged, like they're a part of it. This is all about them as opposed to being all about their products.
Yeah, thanks, Shah. There's a few questions coming through, and probably further to your point about setting up your Copilot MCP to connect to Claras and maintaining some privacy there. Cameron's asked, how do you set up the MCP Claras connector into PowerPoint? How are you doing that?
Well, I'm just uploading my PowerPoint template to Claude or to just to Claude really. So I'm like, here's my PowerPoint template. Here's the client report, and the skills that I've built, which I can share as well, knows exactly what to do with that.
Got it. All right. So just so everyone's kind of understanding what's going on here, an MCP is a way for AI models to talk to each other, or AI platforms to talk to each other. So we've recently built that and are releasing it kind of on request to practices. Essentially, to use Shah's example, she will connect, for example, RetireMap and Claras together using an MCP, and then the MCP orchestrates the data flow and the workflows between those systems and passes information as it needs to, calls on the smarts within those platforms to do what it needs to do without you having to physically go in there, virtually go in there yourself, click buttons and move around. So it's really kind of the next progression of AI tools having access to systems. So that's Gianna's got a question here about using Premium Microsoft Edge. So if you've got the ability or the resources to set up your Microsoft environment and use Microsoft's MCP, then that could be a really nice way to do it. So yeah, Gianna, that's the right approach there.
Yeah, with the
And
Copilot, you can use Claude in Copilot now as well, and it still stays within that environment. I've got plenty of options there now too.
yeah, definitely worth checking with if your licensee has put requirements around that. I know some licensees have approved, AI tools, some AI tools over others. So that's definitely worth chatting to them about it. Can you use the Claras redaction button prior to generating? Not quite sure exactly what that question relates to. Sorry.
I
If you
think
can
that's
clarify
more
that.
about, I think that'll be more about, so you know how when we're creating reports and before it actually brings it back in, it leaves placeholders. So it's not
Yep.
sending the information out and then it brings it back in and pre-fills it again. But my understanding is there's none of that. That doesn't apply with the MCP and it can see everything.
Yeah. Yeah, correct. You'd have to actually export that redacted view to then use it in a third-party tool, which kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
I did see another question there. I've not quite can't remember who it was from. Was it Graham? Feel free to take yourself off mute and ask the question if there was one there.
I think it might have been Jeff. I think Jeff had his
Oh,
hand up.
Jeff, was it?
Mm.
Sorry, that was
No.
accidental.
Okay. Oh, no worries. That's fine. Do you want to talk us through how you use RetireMap and Claras together, Shah, just to kind of give everyone a bit of a, I guess, heads up on
Yeah.
how you might be able to use it?
Yeah. So RetireMap has an MCP as well, so which means I can use them both. RetireMap, I will essentially, once I've done all my projections, like compared my scenarios, I can then use the MCP to compare those two scenarios and write a report for me. So I can just say, even in Copilot MCP, look at these scenarios, refer to these clients, and it only pulls the numbers. So it doesn't pull full names, addresses, email addresses, or anything like that. It's just looking purely at the numbers and why there are the differences between that. Once I've got that information, I can then say, okay, I want you to then, start a strategy presentation in Claras based on this. So it will read the information that's coming those RetireMap reports, and it will put that sort of reasoning in the brief for a new document. And then all I need to do from there is upload my documents and start the report from there. So it's transferring that data more easily, which is, it's saving so much time. Like no longer, I don't really need to start looking at a tech stack now based on compatibility. It's all about, well, can we get a connector for it? Makes them all work.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Which is the whole point, right, of technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even the
Question
other way
from,
around. So,
no, you're right, go
so
for
I
it.
was going to say the other way around. So we can generate a fact find document in Claras and then use the MCP to then input that into whatever fact finding program we're using, if that's got an MCP. So RetireMap's got the MCP. So let's go, here's a fact find from Claras. Update the RetireMap fact find for me. Handy.
Yeah, nice. Brendan, your question around updated information, it won't automatically, I'm not sure if your question is, will it automatically update the overview, discovery and engagement meeting and paraplanning request form? It won't do that automatically, but when you rerun it, it will. So if you think about it as updated information, that Claris then understands to populate that new document, then that's the way to think about it. So it will when you next generate any kind of output from Claris. Yeah, Daniel, just let me know or let us know, let support, if you can just ping support, if you'd like us to enable it on your account. And there is a help center article just to check out. That's got instructions on how to connect it, and will give you some details around where to manage it within Claras. So yeah, just let me know if you'd like that enabled, or
Does
email
that one
support@claras.ai.
does that one have the instructions for Copilot as well, or is it just Claude at this stage?
Just Claude and just ChatGPT at this stage.
Right.
Yeah,
Copilot would be wonderful.
yeah, yeah. It's just a fair bit more complex to set up.
Yeah, I know there's a few steps. Like I know the RetireMap one I'd set up in Copilot. It was a few more steps. I just can't remember how to get my way back.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Any other questions on the review process, or has anyone tried a different approach that they would like to share?
I'd love to get an idea of what documents everyone's using for those reviews, like whether they're generating something out of Claris or if they have their own templates as well. Brendan has a
All right,
question.
we've got a question from Larry
Yeah.
as well. Maybe go for it, Brendan.
Yeah, so I'm trying to create our review process or progress report using Copilot, and I'm sort of down the track of that, which is taking a while. So yeah, it's interesting. It's 30 pages, some of it's static, some of it's coming from reports from whatever product manufacturer and that. So slowly getting there. Seems to be working. Anyway, my two bobs.
Yeah, okay. So what's your process there, Brendan? What's your
Well, we've got our own progress report, like probably a number of others that we've created over the years. A lot of it has static information around economic updates and those sort of things. But then we're getting the performance reports and the beneficiaries and all that from the product manufacturer themselves, and putting that into Copilot and a few other areas to then pull that information to create that report. Which, yeah, is interesting. I haven't got there
interesting
yet.
because
I'm getting
it's
help with it. I'm no genius in this area, so
yeah, okay. Yep. Oh, good. It's about experimenting, right? It's about finding a solution that does what you need it to do. So, and I think this is where technology like MCPs are going to make it easier, because it's just, as Shah explained, it's easier to tap into multiple sources. So having AI do that for you rather than manually go and find it is going to be a win. Thanks for sharing. Shah, there's a few questions here. One's from Larry. Can you see that?
Yeah. So I was just saying with Larry, my source of truth is RetireMap. So I will always, if we're having a conversation with clients, this will also answer Daniel's question at the same time. So before I catch up with the clients for their review, I'll give them a pre-review call. We will then start talking about, what's changed as far as your income needs, your debt levels, bank accounts, children, grandchildren, anything like that. And then I will use the MCP to then update RetireMap. So RetireMap's always going to be my source of truth for financial data. And that way, that's feeding into that review document as well. It's like we had this catch up before we have the review. And that way, when I meet with them for their review, it's not, oh, now I'm going to go away and do the advice. I'm like, well, I already know your circumstances. So when we meet, it's a review and the advice presentation at the same time. Also, Amanda, you've already got a template as well with a few of the slides. So wealth comparison summary. How are you finding that, Amanda? Are you finding that it's giving you all the information that you need for that report?
I would say probably not all of the information that we want, but we kind of use it just as like a summary before we go into a deep dive of how their investments have actually returned and what they've generated. We kind of use the Claras summary like as an introduction to that. And yeah, just to summarize like how their overall net wealth has changed over the last 12 months.
Nice, thanks, Amanda. That's good. Any other tips or tricks, Shah, that you want to share? It's it was really good to have that that run through, and hey, we don't need to kind of drag it out for another half an hour if everyone's ready to move on with their day and they've learned what they need to learn. So that's awesome.
I should learn to speak more and maybe breathe through presentations instead of hold my breath and try and get to the end of it very quickly.
It has.
No, I tend to find when I'm presenting, I'm like, yeah. I think it's really having an understanding of what Claras can do, and if something's not working, it's not that Claras isn't working. It's just that the instructions might not be as specific as it needs to be. So if you're getting a different report every time you run one, then generally it's because the instructions in a template aren't specific enough. So that's been one thing that I've really tried to just nail down and get it very specific, and then make sure that my reports are something that I can present to clients. Daniel, as far as the process for me, I used to obsess over preparing reviews because I like to do it myself, and it would generally take me the good part of half a day to compare reports, feed it all into this, whereas now it takes me probably less than 45 minutes to prepare for this, which is great. And if there's any changes that you're making as well, you can upload a product recs, and that will bring that into the advice document as well. So the efficiencies are hours and hours per clients now. Will we be able to customize the presentation with their logos? So if you're referring to the Claras presentations, there's a section in the settings where you can upload your logos and colors.
Yeah, if you head across to settings, Ursula, you'll see that you can put in a sort of standard square logo plus a landscape one, so it'll use the one that's relevant for the presentation.
Which I can go through a demonstration of what that looks like as well, just for anyone who hasn't had a look at the presentation modes. You're changing things around, I missed you.
Yeah. Gotta find it.
Yeah, no, I found it again. That's fine. All right. So if we go into Claras settings and branding, this is where you can upload your logos in there. If you haven't already, click on this link here, download a template so you can change all your colors and table styles. That's been an absolute game changer as far as the output of the documents as well. So that will include things like your header, your footer, your colors for tables. And then for the presentation mode, you can choose something here that you feel aligns with your business. So if you want something that's a bit more gothic, you go with the purple one. It's actually called Dracula. There you go. And all those different ones here as well. So that will show every time you create a presentation document for a client, that's the style that it will stick with from there.
And if you do have a logo with a transparent background, that's a good one to upload, because that'll it'll show the background color through your logo.
That's been a game changer for me. Again, I would obsess over a presentation document in PowerPoint. I used to use the Copilot, so just go Copilot and PowerPoint, here's my document, create a presentation, and then I would spend 4 hours obsessing over making it perfect. This is done same way every time. If I upload a couple of graphs into it, I just copy and paste them across as well. So it's been a game changer.
Yeah, nice. Ursula, go to settings your settings page and then into branding. Tom, can you show us your style guide template? Is that top secret, or can you?
No, I can show that. I can find it now. Actually, can I download mine again from?
You can.
I can actually just download, and that will show my specific one. And I will share that one. Yeah, that's just showing there. So all I've done with that one is I've just gone through, changed how I want everything to look. Headers there, footers down there, and that's it. There's nothing too special about mine. I just like to keep everything pretty simple and just make sure that, see, these are the main ones. So the heading 1, 2, and 3 are generally the ones being used in the advice documents, along with the title. So they're the main ones that need to be edited along the way, and just making sure that, you know, whatever you want your hyperlinks to look like or your tables to look like, and it's all in there.
We've recently tweaked the way that you can generate your template as well. So if you do have a current Word doc that's got your styles in there, just drop it in as is into that template section in Claras, and Claras will do its best to kind of translate that into a template. And then what I'd suggest is you download that as Shah just did, and then tweak it from there. So it's just another way to get what you need out of it based on what you're currently using. So try that process as well.
That's handy. So somebody could just have an ROA and take out the text, leave some of the text in there, but all the fluffy stuff, and just make sure they've got headers, tables, and then go from there. Perfect.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so Ursula, that's exactly right. You can put your style guide in there. It'll do its best to reproduce it, but then you might need to just download it and tweak it and re-upload it. And to your point, Amanda, we're doing some work on the dot points. I know that's recently kind of had some issues with it, so we're just doing some work on that to clean it up, make sure they're consistent. So that'll be out pretty soon.
What happened with the dot points?
Wasn't picking up the normal body text or normal font size. It was putting its own spin on it. So yeah, it was doing something interesting.
It went rogue.
Yeah, it went rogue. Bullet points went rogue on us.
Yeah, very, very true there, Larry. Claras RetireMap product can replace a lot of what CRMs can do. My view when I went out my own was to stay as far away as possible from Xplan, just because the price, and I wanted something that I could tailor make as low cost as possible, but still get the right output every time. So I'm happy to have more bits of software if it means that I get what I want at the end of it. Sorry. What other key gaps do I need to plug outside of their own online CRM? Yep, so the online CRM that I created in Claude, it flags the fixed term service agreements, all the tasks, client notes. I can send tasks back and forth from my client service officer as well. So there's not really many gaps. I've got work sorted for tracking revenue, which is the only, basically redundant piece of software, but I need it for revenue. And then RetireMap. So RetireMap there, Tom, it's fact finding. So you can send a link to the client for fact finding. At the same time, I've got the guys to bundle in a link to my client portal. So they just upload any documents they need to my SharePoint folder, which is specific to them. And then RetireMap just does the modeling, projections, comparisons. That's about it. It's pretty much standalone, but it's very, very easy to use. Compared to using Xtools or spreadsheets, it's been brilliant. Yeah, a bit like Xtools, but not rubbish.
Good description.
Very much so. We'll put that on their feedback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Connected to both Claude and Microsoft Copilot. At the moment, the Claras MCP is only for Claude, but hopefully we'll have some information released on how to look at that soon. But as
It's
far
actually,
as
just to clarify, Charmaine, it's actually a general MCP, so it can be used by any platform. We just don't have the instructions in the Help Center. So yeah,
that's what we need so far. All right.
Yeah.
I'll try and find the RetireMap instructions, because it might be very much the same, and I'll just send them across and you can use them as your own. Just rename it.
Yeah, nice.
But as far as the RetireMap one, I've got both Copilot and Claude for those ones. But now that we've got access to Claude within Copilot, probably don't need Claude anymore. I'm going to play with that one. No, I do not use Xplan at all. I prefer to stay as far away from that as possible. Any insurance comparisons, I send them off my support officer. They do all those comparisons. If I need performance reports, I'll use Longsec and some automations. So, as far as setting everything on, I don't think I've tracked my time setting everything up, but that's also why I want to share my templates and processes, so that nobody else needs to lose a weekend obsessing over over the tools like I have.
Very good. There's some good questions there. Thanks, everyone. And if there's any others, feel free to drop them in the chat. Otherwise, we can wrap up early and give everyone an early minute, as we used to call it in school. Yeah, Ursula, good work. Try it out and reach out if you have any questions.
And Stu, where will we make these? So if anyone wants to try out these templates and whatnot, will we share that to the chat later?
Yes, we will.
Yeah,
we'll send it around to everyone. We'll just kind of figure out the best way to do that. We'll probably share a link, and then everyone can load them up and try them out. So yeah, if you're happy to, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no point everyone else trying to reinvent the wheel when we've got something that could work for everyone.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's very generous. Thanks all. Thanks for dropping in. We'll wrap it up there, but appreciate everyone's time and hope that was useful. I certainly learned something, and I'm sure everyone else did too. So appreciate the questions. Shah, appreciate your time. Very generous.
Nice.
Loved it. And I'm sure it's going to help everyone. So thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all. Bye.